Another voice. A young couple, Derek and Susan, just had their first child and were adjusting to having a baby in their small house on the edge of town. Susan was repainting the baby's new room while Derek was at work. She had put the baby down for a nap in the master bedroom while she worked. It was a sunny, cool fall day, and the only sounds Susan could hear was the birds chirping outside by the bird feeder, a car passing every now and then, and the faint static sound of the baby monitor she had. She soon heard the child stirring in the monitor. Susan crossed her fingers, hoping the baby wouldn't wake up, but soon enough she heard the child start crying. She had just put her paintbrush down when suddenly the child stopped crying and started laughing softly. "That's odd," Susan said as she turned towards the baby monitor. Then Susan heard something else strange. It was faint, and she could barely make it out from the static crackling of the baby monitor, but Susan was sure that she could hear another voice in the monitor. It almost sounded like a woman's voice was whispering to the child. Susan could not believe her ears. She ran up the stairs and threw open the door to the master bedroom, but no one was there except for the baby. It was just one of those strange things, Susan decided, and things went back to normal for a little while. Sometime later, Susan began to notice that things around the house weren't staying put. Stuff was moving from where she had left it, and Derek had said the same thing. She didn't know what was going on, but it made her feel uneasy. One day, after Derek had left for work again, Susan was working out in the garden. The baby was once again sleeping upstairs, so Susan had brought the baby monitor down to the garden with her. She was digging some weeds out of the dirt when all of a sudden she could have sworn she heard somebody whispering in the baby monitor. She listened closely, thinking maybe it was just the baby again. But when she could hear the voice clearer, it sounded like a woman was whispering to her baby. Susan once again dashed upstairs and opened the door. The baby was standing up inside the crib as if someone had woken it, but there was no one else in the room. Susan told Derek what had happened and told him what she had wanted to tell him all along. Susan believed that their house had somehow become haunted and that the haunt was trying to speak to their child. "I don't know what you want me to do about it," Derek told her. "I'm no expert on ghosts." "Well, if you don't do something, I'll pack my things and take the baby and leave," she replied. Derek decided to have a priest visit and bless the house, which made Susan feel much better. But things didn't change. Susan could still not find things that she had left around the house. One day she had a loaf of bread sitting on the counter in the kitchen. She walked into the next room to set the baby down, and when she went back into the kitchen, the bread had disappeared. "What is going on?" Susan asked herself. "I feel like I'm losing my mind." Derek had another priest bless the house, but once again, it changed nothing. The third time Susan heard the voice in the baby monitor, she had decided enough was enough. Susan had packed her things and was almost out the door when Derek stopped her. "Susan, please," he said. "I'll stay home from work tomorrow and hide in the baby's room, and if anything strange happens, then we'll leave." "I'm not going to stay in this house much longer," Susan told him. But she agreed. The next day, Derek hid in the closet of the baby room, waiting to see what would happen. Susan had gone back down to the garden. She still had the baby monitor, but felt much better now that Derek was upstairs watching the room. Derek waited for over an hour and began to get tired. He felt like a fool, waiting for something they didn't even know was going to happen. He was about to give up and leave when suddenly he heard the bedroom door creak slowly open. Derek sat up in the darkness of the closet and peered through the crack in the closet door. A woman he had never seen before walked into the room. She was small and skinny, with tangled dark hair hanging down past her shoulders. She walked over to the baby and woke it. Then she handed the child a small piece of bread to eat. When the woman had left the room, Derek ran downstairs and called the police. When the police got there, they searched the house top to bottom. They found the strange woman in the basement of the house, curled up in an old cabinet with a pile of groceries. When they arrested her, she told the police everything. Apparently, the woman had been living in Derek and Susan's basement for several months because she couldn't afford to live anywhere else. She had been stealing food and clothes and other things that she needed. Whenever Derek left for the day, the woman would sneak around the house watching Susan and the baby. She would sometimes take food to the child because she liked to feed it and talk to it while Susan was away. Cemetery Initiation. The mourners had left for the very first time since Jim had decided to leave. They waited until the daylight would die, and then they went home just to grieve. You see, Jim hadn't had long left to live. His time had all run its course, and though he would tell you he left on a whim, his death was a turn for the worst. Tonight was his first night alone with the dead. He thought he would then rest forever. But that's just a lie that they put in your head, for the dead do not rest whatsoever. They wait on that first night while you are alone. Then they all start on their dig. After you're out, they will steal all your bones. And after that, they get festive. They use all your bones for their instruments. Your guts, they all get devoured. They party all night with all ill intent, till the air, it begins to smell sour. After they're done and they start to tire, they put all your body parts back. They scramble 'em up so you start to feel dire. It won't be long till you hear laughs. They do this, you see, till the first break of day. To the dead, it's initiation. You may think it's grim how they do it this way, but soon you will be one of them. If you enjoyed listening to those but wanted to experience reading the stories for yourself, you should check out the link in the description because we have an Etsy page and David's book is on there. Now, in addition to all of his short stories and poems, this book also features some incredible artwork, so check it out.